Well, what I wanted to do is I'm glad I'm getting to talk to you one-on-one here. I wanted to christen this episode by doing something. Do me a favor, turn your head 45 degrees to the right.
What?
All right. Leo, as the creator of the Del Rey Misfits, it is my duty to tell you tonight that if you want to continue having any Del Rey Misfits on your YouTube channel as guests, not only do you have to chop off that Steven Seagal looking thing hanging off the back of your cerebrum back there, but you have to send it to Brad, and we're going to hang it up on the wall in Bradford Manor Fitness, and we're going to make it like a mezuzah. Anyone who enters his gym has to touch it, and they're blessed by Leo and longevity. So I want you to do that for you. Cut that thing off already and send it to Brad.
Well, you know actually how that started?
He needs more stuff. He needs more decorations in the gym.
Okay, but on one condition. Can I be an honorary misfit if I do so?
Yeah, we have a bunch of honorary misfits.
Oh, are they really?
As long as I know they're honorary. Yeah, we have our actual misfits, and then we have people who are down with the misfits.
Like Hamburg,
Nate. There are a few others. Although, I can even in some ways look at Nate and say he's kind of a misfit. He's been in videos in the old world gym. But it's funny, there are some maniacs who get so hung up on who's a Del Rey misfit and who isn't. They treat it like it's some crime family or cartel or or a Gambino crime family. And it's like everyone just needs to kind of chill out with that, Okay.
Well, no, I wanted to ask you, how was your impression of the Jay Masters and McChampion fight and follow-up? Yeah, I've given him this name.
Well, it's funny because usually anytime something mentee happens and I miss it or I have to work so I can't film it, I'm disappointed. I'm upset because I like being able to film that kind of stuff. This was one of the rare occasions where I was actually really glad that I was stuck at work and totally missed that. Because Lenny did great filming it. What did I think of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was fucking pathetic. What else is there to really say? I thought Jay could have probably kept on fighting. It was his left pec that got hurt, and he's right-handed. I mean, anyone who's watched a UFC or MMA has seen guys dislocate shoulders, get boxers breaking their hands, and they'll finish the fight. So I was disappointed Jay didn't choose to finish the fight. Just kind of guard with his left and then just keep pounding away with that big lunchbox hand of his. I think it should have taken place in a ring. And I know why Jay wanted it to take place in a ring because, his goal was to stalk Adam down, box him into a corner, and then just, trap him there. But, that was pretty anticlimactic. Well, I mean, I was watching it live with a coworker of mine, and he was laughing his ass off. He's like, "Is this shit real?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I said to him, it was about 48 degrees out that morning. Neither of them warmed up. I said, "It's cold out. Neither guy is warmed up. I bet someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to pull a muscle. Someone's going to snap something." And then it happened, and I don't know if that contributed to it. It certainly may have. I don't know if I would say I'm impartial. I have my feelings on everything. I just keep them behind closed doors. I communicate with the guys privately. I don't do live streams. That's how people get into trouble. That's how people say things they shouldn't say. I've always avoided doing that kind of stuff. So I do have my feelings. I mean, Brad and Jay basically had a handshake deal. Brad was supposed to stop talking about Jay's mother, stop making jokes about wanting to bang her, which I think he did once, and I think it was in a private text message. It wasn't even public. And the quid pro quo was that Jay would stop talking about Valerie and this and that and making little comments about his relationship and kids, and they agreed on it. And then Jay started running his mouth again. He broke the deal. And that's what really pissed Brad off. They had a deal as men. This one won't say this one won't say that. They shook hands on it, well, in a matter of speaking. And Jay broke the deal. And I don't blame Brad for being pissed off. I really don't.
Yeah.
Hey, no, man.
What's up, man? What's going on? Everything good?
Living the dream here in the great old United States of America.
Yeah. The nightmare to come, more like it. Well, I'm friends with both guys, so like I don't want to play both sides of the. That's for me. That's the hardest thing. I don't want to play both sides. If Brad tells me something, I don't want to run back to Jay. And if Jay tells me something, I don't want to run back.
Jay's your genuine friend.
I consider Jay a friend because
Oh.
For me, sober Jay is the person I'm friends with. He's great. Anyone who's met Jay will tell you he's personable, he's funny, he's great to hang out with. But then there's the Jay who, likes to turn the camera on, do a live stream and get trolled into saying shit. A lot of it is him getting antagonized. Like if you watch any of his live streams now, you'll see all the troll comments. Brad said your mother's this.
Yeah.
Brad said this. Brad, none of it's true. But if Jay's been drinking, his sense of judgment is going to be a little off, and he's going to start responding to that stuff and get sucked into it. That's a problem. And I've told Jay lots of times, I'm like, you're being trolled. It's kind of like when I used to talk to Genova. Don't get trolled.
Yeah, that's
You're
very
being
annoying.
trolled, man. And that's one of the problems too. So
I never even realized that. Thank you for explaining that. I never
just
even
watch one of his live streams and read the comments, and you'll see them all. But it's like with Genova. I'm not going to keep saying the same thing to somebody. Figure it out for yourself already, or stay the fuck off live streams. Really, I think Jay just drinks because he's bored in his truck. Really, it's like there's nothing else for him to do. So fuck it. Let me crack open a few beers, go live, and burn some bridges. I just think it comes down to boredom. I was going to say that this has been one of the big problems since Jason exited from the Genovaverse. Without him around to sort of draw all the attention and trolling to himself, you have a bunch of restless trolls with no Genova who are looking for a target. And, a lot of the trolls will kind of look to Jay for guidance in that regard. And I think if he steers them in a certain direction, he has his little army of trolls that are going to follow his orders. And that's been one of the big problems without Jason around, is that.
Do you think Jason will be back?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. I talked to him about a week ago on the phone, and he told me that things between him, his grandmother, and his uncle are much better lately, and he's hoping to be back on YouTube within a year, starting up a channel dedicated to collectibles and coins.
Oh, interesting.
And I say, whenever you're ready, let me know. I'll be your cameraman.
Wow,
So,
that's
we'll
great.
see. Yeah, he sounded very upbeat about it. It's not going to happen anytime imminently, but he said possibly by the end of the year. So we'll see.
That's
You
great.
can tell he's, he wants to do it again, but it's just, it can't happen right now. I wanted to ask Lenny a question. Hey, Lenny, what's going on?
How you doing, gentlemen? How's everything going?
Good. So Lenny, as you know, today is Martin Luther King Day, and normally we get together on MLK Day, but today, we couldn't. So I wanted to ask you a question. I want you to finish the following sentence. I have a dream that one day
people of my color would get reparations and totally rule this country.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the computer. I don't know. Keep saying the internet connection is unstable. But did you guys see the newest episode of Mr. Snowflake's History of the Delray Misfit?
Yeah. It's funny. I watched those, and I don't remember so much of that stuff. Filming it, things I said, things I filmed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember Jason boxing JT. I
I
have no.
never saw any of that footage. I don't know where he got it from.
It's in one of our episodes, but I have
Really?
no independent recollection of filming Jason boxing JT. It's really
Yeah.
weird.
But the latest one had some weird imagery, and then he said in it thanks for being good sports, but it was trying to imply you guys were gay. It was pictures of somebody drew sketches of I don't know who these people were. It was images of you guys hugging each other, and it was odd. Did
I
you
don't
see-
remember that.
Yeah, the latest episode was bizarre.
I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch it again. It was weird. And then he wrote in in the middle, it was thanks for being a good sport, Misfits, or something.
I like when you played Joe Rogan's commentary over Jason boxing JT. I was watching that at work, laughing my ass off, man.
Yeah, I thought it was real. It got me convinced.
It does make me miss the old World Gym, though, because I trained there for a number of years with Lenny, but seeing that footage from there, that was a good gym, actually. I missed it.
Do you guys remember the trainer from our old world gym who had the bear claw scratch marks on his
Yeah,
back?
Brandon.
What was his name?
Brandon. Yeah, Lenny.
Brandon Wolf.
Brandon Wolf. Yeah, he was from Chicago, but when Lenny and I first did the Southern States in 2004, Lenny was telling him we were eating, like replacing carbs with nuts, and he'd always go, "No nuts, no nuts." And he didn't even compete, as far as I know, and he's trying to tell us what to do, what to eat.
I saw him almost once get into a fight with Big Richard over a Smith machine. This is, I'd say, 1999, when I had just moved down to Florida. For those who don't know who I'm talking about, at the Old World Gym, there was a personal trainer, and he was very distinguishable because on his back, he had been attacked by a grizzly bear. And he had these long, like Freddy Krueger mauled him, these long scars going all the way. And he used to work out with stringers so you could see him. These long scars all the way down his back, like he had been attacked by a bear, which he was. And
Good story to tell.
I once saw him had to be separated from Big Richard in 1999 over a Smith machine. It was great.
You remember the specifics of it?
No, I don't. I just remember them getting to a shouting match over a Smith machine, and they had to be separated. It was great. And this is when Big Richard was much bigger than he ever was at our World Gym. So,
Lenny, remember that time that Hispanic football player got into it with that Israeli basketball player? They almost came to blows in the middle of the World Gym there.
Yeah, and that basketball player was big.
Yeah, he was big, like
about 6'9".
Yeah,
about 260, no fat.
You know, Leo,
his head off.
I would say, Leo, I don't know if you know this or not, but some of the 9/11 hijackers used to train at our Old World Gym. And I remember after the attacks on September 11th, a CNN news crew came in interviewing gym goers to see if they knew the hijackers and knew anything about them. Israel can take care of itself. Israel doesn't need the United States to run to its defense. They, what was it? The 5-day war was in 1967. I mean, they took on the whole Muslim world and then won in 5 days. So Israel can do just fine on its own without the United States.
My bulk cycle will be bulking January 1st to June 6th. I'm feeling a little healthier this year. It's probably because I'm using the self-adjusted CPAP that Aladdin bought me, which I don't think he got me that last year until March or April. So I'm starting off right off the bat a lot better. My strength's going up, and I'm actually getting a little leaner without any cardio, which is nice. And I just got to improve the weak points. And watching here, Lee Priest, he always emphasizes the basics. And there's nothing like adding good old Dianabol to really feel good to any stack for breaking plateaus and reaching your maximum performance. And I was surprised to hear Lee say he used that pre-contest.
Yeah.
And again, to this day, I call it the breakfast of champions. I mean, look how Dianabol, if certain people didn't make it, I'm talking about athletes, wrestlers, actors, and so on, you would never even heard of them.
Dianabol is an incredible antidepressant, huh? Do you notice that? Do you notice it gives you a good mood?
Yeah, I do. I always do. Yeah, versus Anadrol, where you don't get that antidepressant effect.
Who was Lee Priest pretending to be when he was on?
What?
When he had the beard. What was that all about? That was funny as hell.
I think one of you guys explained it.
You think Fuad could give the history lesson that Leo just gave the audience? And he's an actor too.
Is that who he was imitating? Someone named Fuad?
Or food or fraud.
I see the name floated around. I don't know who the guy is.
I'm kind of disappointed you didn't have Nick explain some of the details of his gay perfect experiences. That would have been very interesting.
We could have him on to do that. They would be interesting. He's told me stories.
And they used to call me pay for gay. I could relay my stories. I wouldn't say that,
We should have an episode where you and Nick talk. That would be good. We'll do that.
Demonetized.
Yeah, totally.
One time, Lenny tricked me into going to some place called HG Roosters up in West Palm. He told me it was just a mainstream hetero club. And it was they had the male
Belfort,
crew
huh?
that night. A couple guys dancing on stage, stuffing their trunks. And I was about 340, bald with a goatee. And the guy went around the stage and everybody was giving him money, feeling him up. And he goes up to Lenny and he smacks him in the stomach. He goes, "You got something for me, big man?" And he looked at me and I just looked like I wanted to kill the guy and he didn't come near me.
Yeah.
His
Never
girlfriend was
forget that.
hot, though. He must have come from Miami. He was like a Puerto Rican guy, but the only chick in there was his girlfriend. She was like raking it in, the money the guy made that night, but she was smoking hot, I remember. But I remember no stalls on the bathroom doors, and Lenny had to tell people we were from San Francisco.
And I know the old man at the door said, "I know you guys are just in here to get your dick sucked." And we're thinking, no, we called it infiltrating. Is you go into a place that's really, off the wall, and try not to laugh, so you see them on their worst behavior, so that and it's like being like a spy or an infiltrator.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing. And I thought Andrew and I have to see this firsthand to see what really goes on at these places. Before anybody's judgmental, you got to go in and see for yourself. And believe me, it was stomach turning to me. Oh man.
And then afterwards, across the street, there was a strip club called the Kitten Club with these old women that looked like they were pregnant or just had babies, like in their 50s. The nastiest things. Like, "Come on, you couple of cheapskates, pony up, give us some money." And Lenny had to order a drink, either a soda or a beer, and he told the lady, I've had more urine in my life than I've had either of those."
Did either of you guys ever go to Peekaboo's in Lake Worth?
I worked there.
Oh, no shit, you did?
Yeah. Funny story. Yeah, I was going to tell you the night we had Dale Chance on, he said he wanted a pet raccoon. Well, there was a black guy that used to work the door. He did time in Rayford State Prison, the prison Ted Bundy was executed in, as a matter of fact. But he said some redneck came up one night drunk at 2 a.m. There was raccoons by the dumpster. He's like, "I'm going to go pick up that old raccoon over there. Watch this." He goes, "I bet you won't." And he went over there, tried to pick the thing up. He cornered it, a full-size raccoon. He said that thing tore the hell out of him. So you better pay attention, Dale Chance, if you think you're going to handle them little baby coon.
They'll be frothing at the mouth.
Place, Peekaboo. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was one of the raunchiest strip clubs in all of Palm Beach County for years, man.
Oh yeah. They would screw in the back rooms. We'd have to clean up the condoms every night.
Oh,
It's like a transsexual that got a sex change, gets his penis chopped off. What's the point?
you need to go to Scarlett's down in Miami if you want a good experience.
Really, huh?
I think I've been there. Is that the one with 2 or 3 floors?
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. That one I went a couple times when I was working at LA Fitness. It's pretty decent. And then you got Rachel's, which is the 5-star steakhouse up in West Palm, Rachel's Strip Club. That's supposed to be pretty decent.
Leah, do you remember, and this might be before your time, when I was living with that grandmother, when I was 19, I used to go downtown because my grandmother did whatever I wanted. And you had those guys wearing the leather with the hats and the mustaches. We call Brad the leather daddy. I mean, walking around in groups. And I thought they were like the Hells Angels or something like that. Until I saw them. They're walking around like with no ass to their thing. They have like, I guess, a G-string on, wearing that, walking around like that. It was
In Pittsburgh?
Yes, I'm downtown, Liberty Avenue.
I seen that in Berlin. That's what I seen that in Berlin for sure. They're all over.
This is 1989. My God.
It's like that
Like
movie,
a Freddie Mercury mustache.
The blue.
You thought it was some hardcore, like, badass motorcycle gang?
Right. Yeah. Until you hear him talk. Like,
What's the fascination with leather and combining it with sex? I don't understand that.
you should have had Brad on here. They call him the leather daddy. He looks like it. I mean, if you look at him and there's pictures of people memed, I don't know, with leather on him, he looks just like him. Matter of fact, he can make a living doing that. Cigar, assless chap,
Well, people, maniacs have sent a leather vest, leather mask. Has anyone ever sent him leather pants? I don't think so.
I have the leather pants. They sent me a
Do
leather
you?
thing. But Brad, oh my God, he would make a fortune doing that. Like going to Berlin or whatever.
Yeah, Berlin has some interesting things going on there. Very interesting things.
Yeah, like I heard that they were doing those child sexual sacrifices, with what's that guy for that one rock band? He explained.
Oh, yes. Remember that. That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Scorpions, one of the members said they actually sacrificed somebody in a Berlin type of festival.
That is true. Yeah.
You have to look at the most degenerate, disgusting, and I think it's a must, especially for men over 18. You have to watch the gore, whether you don't want to. And oddly enough, Brad refuses to watch it. And I told him he has to watch it because I know, Prince has watched it and he gave me different links to stuff. And it's just to show you don't leave your guard down. There's human filth lurking around, and don't take anything for granted.
That is.
I stopped looking. I told Lenny a few years ago about the YNC website.
Yes.
I can't even look at that shit anymore. It's
What is that?
it's just like it sounds, the YNC.com,
But what is it for? What does it have on it?
showing just the most horrific videos you can imagine, things that people film with their cell phones in third world countries, street justice, mob deaths, executions, just violence that you would never see if the internet didn't exist.
A lot of the ISIS stuff, but then again, there's a lot of stuff from Africa and Brazil. Particularly, the most disgusting, people getting beat up in the street, mob justice, people getting hung, burned alive.
Let's say, go ahead, Lenny, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No,
I
go ahead.
was gonna say, let's say you're walking down the street and someone points the finger at you. Hey, that guy just robbed me. He just stole, a loaf of bread from my store. That's it. The mob forms. And then next thing you know, have your hands tied behind your back. You're inside a tire being burned alive. They don't get a trial, no jury, no nothing. And it's really fucked up to watch.
It's made me not ever want to fight anybody or harm anybody. Honestly, I'll tell you that. I mentioned that to you before, Andrew, on one of the Delray Misfits podcasts. You don't want to go there. You don't want to take out a bat or a knife or.
What was that one? I think it was Ukraine. The two brothers just picked some random poor guy walking through the forest and beat him with a hammer.
Yep.
I'll never forget.
Leo, you never saw that, Leo? 3 guys and a hammer?
Yeah, 3 guys and a hammer.
Yeah, they do it in the woods to a random homeless guy.
Leo, you have to look at that as soon as you're done. I know you're going to probably stay up at night, but
Yeah.
that is 3 guys and a hammer.
You won't find that on YouTube. You'll have to go to one of these obscure websites to see that footage. But once you watch that, that'll keep you up. The Richard Kuklinski documentary is on YouTube. Just look up the Iceman Richard Kuklinski. It's fascinating.
Yeah, Roy DeMaio is more fascinating, but unfortunately, he didn't have the interviews like Richard did.
They have no conscience whatsoever, it seems, and empathy. It's so cold and calculating. It's.
Imagine getting
I can see being a soldier or a hitman as part of your job, but I guess it was part of his job. I don't know. Yes, they're cowards. I notice. I watch a lot of them, and they're very cowardly. They've been pushed around a lot, and that's their way of acting up. And I never really got off that. I had a girl that literally wanted me to rip her nipples off, and I was having a hard time to do it. And she legitimately liked it. Another girl liked getting choked. So I didn't want to really choke her out. It was hard to gauge if you go too far. But I never got off on that. Maybe the other way around a little bit. But to tell you the truth, I want to say, go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
Like the time we went to the Ugly Mug in Delray Beach, and there was some girl, she's outing, "Oh, it's my birthday." And Lenny's like, "Well, how would you like to walk on me for your birthday?"
I miss that place, man. I live 2 minutes from where that place was. I miss that place.
But we were all G'd up, and Lenny's like, "Oh, this feels great." She's like, "Close your legs, man." And then the next day, Lenny called me. He's like, "Oh, I got these puncture wounds all over my chest and stuff." That was the night we were in the women's room with impunity. That bouncer didn't have the guts to tell us to leave.
I was sitting on the toilet with the store open in the women's room. Andrew's sitting on the sink. We're like massive at our peak of size and strength. And the black bouncer did not even go in that bathroom. Women are going in, using the bathroom, putting on makeup, washing their hands, whatever. And I'm sitting there with Just took a dump and just sitting right there and looking at everybody naked. Nobody Matter of fact, when I gave out, a girl gave us a couple bags of cocaine.
Leo,
Remember you called him up, Lenny? Bald Mike, you're like, hey, Mike, I got your girlfriend here. She just gave me a bag of coke.
Big Italian biker from New York. I knew him. His girl was on the phone. I said, gave me the phone. I said, yeah, I'm going to fuck your girl. How's that? He didn't even say anything. It's like,
Leo, the Ugly Mug was one of the only bars, actually was the only bar in Delray Beach that was open till 5 in the morning. Everything else closed at 2.
Yeah.
So at like 1:30, when everyone was drunk and wasted and wanted to keep partying, they would all flock to the Ugly Mug. So at like 2 or 2:30, you'd see a line all the way outside for people waiting to get in to, keep drinking and doing their blow or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Now that's when things got really ugly. That place lived up to its nickname. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
you
there
have
any
Paradise
place-
right down the street and all closed now. Nothing's there.
Yeah, well, you could walk there, Lenny, from where you were.
I certainly did.
Right near
messed up on
Paradise.
TV and Fenna, but many times.
Wait, are you guys meaning to indicate that Florida is becoming less of a party place, or is it just different places opening up?
I think it's the same.
Oh, it's the same. No, you're just mentioning a lot of places that closed down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
particularly where me and Andrew lived on our street with the gyms closing down. We had 2 of the best gyms in South Florida at one point. And then now they've moved the Planet Fitness in there, and that's it.
and our old world gym still says Delray Fitness up top, and it still sits there empty.
Really?
And our
5 years
favorite
later.
all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet was closed down too, and they made a Japanese one that closed down too.
That whole plaza needs to be demolished. It's a dead plaza. There's nothing going on there. It's a shame.
And I don't think it's going to be open in the next 4 years. That's for sure.
Where would someone want to move to if they were moving from out of state to Florida?
In Palm Beach County.
Is that where they should move? You think? Yeah.
A lot
If
of
you're
people.
looking to party, probably further south, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. If you're looking to stay safe, maybe I would say Delray Beach.
Oh,
West
The-
Doral is mostly a Venezuelan area. When most of the upper class left, when the communists took over about 10 or 12 years ago, they went to Doral. But it wasn't, you go east and there was the most transsexuals I ever saw on 79th Street. So that wasn't good for me. It was like a 10-minute drive. I'm like, what the hell did I don't know if this is good or bad. 10 by the dozens.
I think you need to go to Thailand. We need to do a GoFundMe for Lenny's trip to Thailand. He has to experience that.
Yeah.
I really don't think
Lenny, do you like Asians? I don't know if that would be your
Yeah, I could get into them.
he could get into, he could develop a,
But all you need to do is have some ass implants, and I'm good to go.
yeah, you need the ass. That's the thing. That's the thing. Oh, but they have that. They're very into surgeries and stuff like that. So the women have all kinds of things.
I'll say
all
this,
kinds of things.
I know what people said about Ibogaine and this and that, but I'm going to tell everyone right now, what it did for me, I've noticed, is most of that perversions I'm not acting out on anymore.
No, there's nothing wrong with ibogaine at all. It's very useful.
But I'm just saying, as far as, not using GHB, it didn't do anything for that, but acting out on that and not thinking clearly, it removed a lot of that. I'll say that. As the weeks go on, I've noticed that about myself. I don't have to draw.
How long has it been now since you did that? A couple months?
That was
Halloween, right?
right before. That was the 3rd week of October. I had it done, 3rd or 4th week. So, what, 3 months?
2.5 months ago.
Great. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Palumbo, Lenny, are you following through with your homework assignment to send them your blood sugar readings?
No, because the thing is, I went back on GH just at a 4 IU dosage, split over twice, 2 injections a day. And I do MK677 maybe about 5 nights a week. That's going to give you a high blood sugar reading. So that tells me that that's being used, it's in my bloodstream and because of it. So, like I said, I like to stay away from blood pressure monitors and blood sugar monitors because it just puts a negative frame of thought into me. And that's why I don't take medication. I think my mind is stronger than all that. And hey, I'm the oldest guy here. I'm about to turn 51 pretty soon. And
But you
I mean,
still
I
have
think-
some of that valsartan, right? The blood pressure medication.
yes, I do. Thank you. I do.
So you won't use it though.
Well, if I feel like, you know, actually, when I take Cialis, which I do every other day, I think it lowers my blood pressure and almost to the point where I've almost passed out on it because my blood pressure was so low.
Mm.
So I'm thinking that's taking care of it. Plus, it's giving me added effects of increased pumps. And I'm shocked. I saw your latest video today with Boston Lloyd. I'm shocked a lot of these younger guys are having issues with kidneys in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah, many people are.
I simply feel they're not drinking enough water. You know, I got my water here. I'm doing 4 gallons a day. I think that's the number one thing for the kidneys is not drinking, being dehydrated.
Did you hear about that, Prince?
What?
Do you know that Boston Lloyd's in kidney failure?
No, I didn't.
Oh
hear
yeah,
that.
that's the video
How
he's
old is
referring
he?
to. 29, I think.
He's not even 30 yet. Are you serious?
No, stage 5 kidney failure. Yeah, he announced it on my show today.
That's horrible.
Is
And then he
going
said
on
he didn't want to.
dialysis?
He's going to have. Huh? What did you say, Lenny?
Yeah, that home dialysis. I never heard of that.
Me neither. He told me about it. Yeah.
Not something I want to be on. I'll tell you that though. If I ever had a high reading, I'd be on, believe me, Jardiance and everything else real quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like in the Mr. Snowflake videos. It's watching it in a different light now. It's Andrew was like a big brother to Jason. He really you could tell he really cared about him. There was like a good camaraderie there in the gym with Saul and everybody.
It was a very positive environment, and my patience hadn't worn thin yet. I still had a lot of patience back then, but over the years it waned, and finally I just,
And in a
it's
certain way,
harder
I
and
think,
harder to tolerate Jason's bullshit and just,
I think Prince Andrew's a father figure to Jay Masters now in a way, because I don't think if Jay had things to vent he's been doing to Prince, he'd be in a real bad spot. You know, he's still.
I've always gotten along great with Jay, and
Yeah.
he's
I
never.
just hate to see it do it with anybody. You know, even Brad. You know, I always like to see a reunion, but don't know if that's going to happen. But
It
I
won't.
just hope, you know.
Lenny, what I was saying to Leo before you came on is how anyone who's met Jay will tell you is that when you're just hanging out with Jay, sober Jay, he's one of the most funny, engaging, charismatic people to spend time with. He's great.
Helpful, yeah.
It really
He'll help you with
is.
his strength, whatever.
And then there's the Jay who chooses to do live streams and drink large amounts of alcohol, and that's where the trouble starts. So
I think people just take it what it is. Just a drunk, not in his right mind.
I've never been a beer drinker. If I drink, it's vodka, rum, whiskey. I've never been a beer. I don't think I've ever actually finished a beer from start to finish in my entire life.
Oh wow, yeah. I can't stand hard liquor.
Franco Columbo was known to drink a beer every day, I think.
Really?
Yeah, they say it's good for prevention of kidney stones. I don't know if it's true, but an occasional beer, something in it, I don't know.
Could be. It could be. I've actually heard that before.
Andrew, what do you do with that exercise ball over your shoulder?
It's for S&M when I bring in the
It's just so random back there.
yeah, I know. Well, I'm
Well,
light
you
enough
learn
now where I
from
can do like planks on it and stuff like that, like stability stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I invested in crap like that in March when I thought the gyms were going to be closed for the foreseeable future. I'm like, who knows if they're ever going to open up a friggin' gym again? Let me at least do something. I couldn't get any weights where I was at, and everybody was buying them all up. So I got that and the shitty bands. But thankfully now I know 2 or 3 guys that have home gyms that invited me if things get shut down again. I got a place to go. So
But they're open right now up there?
yeah, wide open. I went to a gym the other day and 30 minutes away, the sauna was open. I was surprised.
It's good.
They're going to require masks federally, apparently.
He can't do that. It can only be done by state.
Oh, okay.
The only thing Biden can do is strongly encourage governors to issue mask ordinances for each state, but he can't federally enforce it.
Oh, interesting.
I can't see myself squatting with a mask on. I'd be out cold. It'd be a bad situation.
Yeah, at our LA Fitness, when you walk in and when you leave, they'll tell you to put it on. And as soon as you get in the club, you can take it off and no one gives a shit. No one says a thing.
Weren't people wearing masks a few years ago in the gym? Some type of. Remember those things?
Hypoxia.
The device.
They were trying to oxygen deprive themselves because they
Oh,
remember
those stupid things. Like, that's like, have a skull painted on it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy whose balls you broke at LA Fitness in Delray. It was you or Brad, I can't remember. It's a tall, lanky guy, and he was wearing it while he was doing curls. I'm like, what are you doing? You want oxygen, don't you, when you're lifting weights?
Too thick, like 300 or 400 pounds, and try to do 20 reps on squats. That's enough hypoxia for anybody.
That's true. That's very true.
A couple mornings a week, I'll jog in my development, and there's this same lady. Every time she goes out, one of these old ladies who does her fast morning walk. And as soon as she sees me coming toward her, I don't wear a mask, it's outdoors. She has a mask around her neck. And once I get within, I'd say 50 to 60 feet of her, she frantically pulls it up over her face and diverts 30 feet into the street. Like, is this what we've come to as a society where human beings don't even want to get within 30 feet of each other anymore and have to put on a mask? I mean, where are we right now as a fucking society where people feel the need to do that?
And when is it going to stop? Is it ever going to stop?
No, for some people, I don't think it ever will. No.
Sick world.
It's like insulting. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
When someone intentionally walks 30 feet out of the way and quickly covers their face, like you have some, like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, if you look at them, they're going to turn to stone like Medusa or something. People have gone insane.
That's so true. All right, guys. Should we call it a podcast?
Yeah, that works for me.
And we'll have Brad on later this week. Hey, Prince Andrew, can you help us get Synthol, so-called Synthol, Mark or Mike?
Mark, sure. Mark. Yeah, email him tomorrow for you.
Oh, yeah? That would be awesome. We'd love to have him as a guest. I think that would be great.
He keeps emailing me, political rants. This country's fucked. This country's over. And
he's right.
I actually showed you guys. I forwarded you guys something he emailed me to, and
it was brilliant.
Said he was spot on. Yeah. What would you change your name to, Lenny?
Dick. They call Richard Dick. You don't see Dick anymore. I think it's the best. Definitely. You don't see that anymore. Dick Nixon and Dick Butkus were the last ones I've ever heard. What was that?
Dick Enberg, the announcer for NBC, was one of the best announcers.
Yeah, it's actually true. Dick is like a name that eventually is just going to be weeded out. I don't know any young people.
So that says the name Dick was used probably in the 50s. It started late, would you say? So we'll have to do some research. When
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. What kind of a name is that? Is that his real name?
Yeah, as far as I know. I would choose that voluntarily.
Is that funny?
You want to call yourself Dick Van Dyke?
Or Dick Yes, that's pretty bad too.
Yeah,
especially sexual.
No, even men. I always tell people to take the first shot on me to remove the liability. And I don't hate you, but I don't even hate Richard Ramirez. But pure human filth. He needs to be snuffed out.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And that's a real big problem in California because everybody knows the death penalty doesn't get applied for like 50, 30 years. Whatever.
Gun control and removal of the death penalty. It's worked wonders, hasn't it? Well, that's who's got elected. 2 libs. We're in trouble.
I'll tell you what, if there are any gun enthusiasts out there, I own 2 guns in my house. You might want to consider going to a gun show and buying yourself an unregistered gun because they're going to come for them. So first they're going to ban the high capacity magazines. Then they're going to ban the ARs. Then they're going to ban the semi-automatics, and then they're going to come for them all. So word to the wise, go out and buy yourself an unregistered gun.
And the reason why people were supposed to have guns in the U.S., let's make it clear, was to defend yourself against a tyrannical government, specifically.
Correct. That's right.
Specifically.
Mhm.
And now
That's
you
the
have
whole
it
point of the Second Amendment. Correct.
exactly. And now we have like
Japan's idea of invading, because the General Yamamoto said everybody's packing weapons in the United States. We can't do a land invasion.
You know, one of the things I told you, Synthol, Mark and I had been emailing each other, and one of the things he told me was, he said, I guarantee you within the first 4 to 6 months of Biden's presidency, you're going to see a mass shooting with an AR type rifle,
Yeah.
which will get the ball rolling. Okay, now
That's
we
good.
need to implement, legislation to get, X, Y, and Z banned, and then they're going to come for him.